The world remembers him as the genius with the wild hair, the man who could bend time and space with an equation. But what if I told you the boy who rewrote the laws of the universe was once called mentally slow? That his teachers told him he would never amount to anything? That he failed over and over before the world ever heard his name? This is not the story of a scientist. It is the story of a boy who refused to accept the limits the world placed on him, and in doing so, proved that the universe itself has no limits. Albert Einstein was born in 1879 in the quiet German city of Ulm. From the very start, his life looked ordinary, perhaps even below ordinary. He barely spoke until the age of 4, his silence making his parents anxious and his neighbors whisper, "Something must be wrong with the boy," they said. But silence is not emptiness. In that quiet, young Albert was not idle. He was watching. He noticed the way light scattered through a glass of water, the rhythm of the gears in a clock, the mysterious pull of a compass needle. These were small details to others, but to Albert, they were puzzles waiting to be solved. And somewhere, deep inside that quiet little mind, the seeds of E equals mc squared were already being planted. School, however, was not a place where his curiosity could bloom. The German education system of the time demanded memorization, obedience, and conformity. Einstein gave them none of that. He refused to memorize facts he didn't understand. He asked questions teachers couldn't answer. And instead of admiring his hunger for knowledge, they punished it. One teacher famously told him, "You will never amount to anything." Those words could have crushed him, but instead, they became fuel. Albert was beginning to learn one of life's great truths, that questioning the rules is the first step to changing them. At 16, he decided to enter the prestigious Swiss Federal Polytechnic. The result? He failed the entrance exam. The boy who would later be called the genius of the century was told he wasn't smart enough for college. For a moment, the sting of rejection cut deep. But Einstein understood something most people don't. Failing once does not make you a failure. He studied for another year, returned, and passed. He had knocked on the door once and been turned away. But dreamers knock again and again until it opens. Graduating didn't lead to the glory he imagined. Instead of becoming a professor, Einstein found himself unemployed. No university wanted to hire him. He took a modest job at the Swiss Patent Office, examining other people's inventions. It was tedious, but in that monotony, his mind wandered to the questions that had followed him since childhood. What is light? How does time work? What is the fabric of reality made of? Sometimes the place that hides you is the very place that shapes you. And then came 1905, the year scientists now call Annus Mirabilis, the year of miracles. In just 12 months, Einstein published 4 groundbreaking papers that would change the world. One explained the photoelectric effect, another proved the existence of atoms through Brownian motion, and then there was special relativity, the daring idea that time and space are not fixed but bend and stretch depending on speed and gravity. The nobody clerk was suddenly a name every physicist knew. His light was too bright to ignore, but fame brought storms. As the world plunged into the chaos of the First World War, Einstein stood firmly against nationalism. While others glorified battle, he spoke openly for peace. In wartime Germany, that made him a target for criticism and even threats. Yet he refused to bend. Standing for peace in a world at war takes more courage than fighting on a battlefield. Then, the storm grew darker. With the rise of Adolf Hitler and the spread of anti-Semitism, Einstein's Jewish heritage made him a marked man. In 1933, he fled Germany, never to return, finding refuge in the United States. Leaving his homeland was not easy, but sometimes the bravest act is walking away from the place you love to protect the light you carry. In America, Einstein faced his greatest moral struggle. During the Second World War, fearing that Nazi Germany might develop a nuclear bomb, he signed a letter to President Roosevelt urging research into nuclear weapons. That letter indirectly contributed to the Manhattan Project and the bombs that fell on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The weight of that decision haunted him for the rest of his life. He spent his later years campaigning for peace, warning the world about the dangers of nuclear arms. Even the greatest minds wrestle with the weight of their choices. In his final years, Einstein turned his focus back to pure science, searching for a theory of everything, a single equation that could explain the entire universe. He never found it, but perhaps his greatest legacy was not an equation, but a philosophy. Only a life lived for others is a life worthwhile. He believed kindness was as important as knowledge, curiosity as important as certainty. Albert Einstein's life is proof that your beginning does not decide your ending. That silence can hide brilliance. That failure can fuel greatness. And that the universe, both outside and inside you, is limitless. The boy who bent time also bent the meaning of what it means to be human. And maybe, just maybe, his real theory was not about physics at all, but about the unstoppable power of a mind that refuses to give up.